There's just no queen like a vegan queen.
Hiya everyone, it's me, that there Gemini from a distant galaxy what came here and bloody regretted it soon enough, especially now because of COVID.
And I'm miasma.
Oh, miasma, how are you, my darling?
Oh, I'm not too bad. Not too bad considering it's November, which is my least favourite month. I always feel I'm a bit like Stuart in that respect. You were talking about it the other day. I always feel a bit grotty in November. I don't know why, you know, a bit sort of grimy.
Well, all trees change, don't they? Everything starts dropping off. Everything starts feeling a bit grotty and muddy.
Yeah.
Really, in November. So I get you.
Yeah. But it is just a bit like, you know, with the daylight savings and everything like that, and the time change that's happened previous, it proper hits you in November, doesn't it? And you get to the point where you're thinking, how much daylight are they trying to save? Because I've barely
I'm just checking my camera. I've discovered what happens. The red light stops flashing, but I've got to keep my eye on the clock in the bottom corner, because if that's going down, it's recording. And that's what's important.
Well, that's good. There you go. A bit of techno here for you at home.
Well, a couple of things to mention. First of all, I'm feeling better in body and mind.
That's good.
Remember last episode I had a bit of a word with Paul through the camera and said, hey, Patsy, sort yourself out. I'm coping with the bloody lack of teeth until we get that partial denture, and I'm not best pleased about that, to be honest with you. But this fat eggness has got to go. I'm not having it. Bread all the time and fat things. Come on, I says.
Fat things?
You heard me. Anyway, this last week he's got on a right mission, eating loads of whole food, plant-based meals and exercising every day, and you know, he lost 3 pounds, so I'm feeling that. That's feeling a bit better.
Lovely.
But miasma, we need to explain today's look. What's today's look?
Well, today, gentle viewers, we've been inspired by the world of anime and manga, haven't we? Which, as you know, is a Japanese form of, I'm going to say cartoon, but if that sounds insulting, I don't mean it like that, but just, it's drawn.
Animation.
Animation, there you go, that's a much better word, it's in the title.
Now, I've see my dress, it says, good girls do bad things. And that's true, that is. So what I've come as, have you heard me? Like it's a fancy dress party. What I've come as today is, right, imagine all the super fabulous young female manga superheroes. Yeah, have you got them in your mind? And their mother.
You can see it now you're looking,
all
you
of
can
them.
see it. Can't you?
One at a time.
Like an amalgamation.
Spat them out, I did.
Yeah.
Like cherries.
Like cherry pits. Boom, boom. Don't know why I did that.
So yeah, we like to have a theme for us look, don't we? And I've never worn this necklace before, and I've never worn this hair before.
Beautiful.
In this particular style. So Paul had a go at this for me, you know. He did like a live wig video.
Oh yes, I saw that over there.
Yeah, we were just having a chat and kind of styling a couple of wigs. He threw this one together and said, Gemini, what do you think? I said, it's very manga.
Yeah.
What with the bow and everything, it's very manga. He said, manga mother. I said, Paul, you know me too well.
Manga
I punched him in the arm and then he whinged. He was like, what that? You were punched at hard, you, Gemini. I was like, Paul, shut up, I'm sick of it.
Sometimes people just need to stop, don't they?
They do.
You know, and just get on with things.
All this truth and facts and everything.
Do you know what I mean?
Where?
False news and exposés and people getting away with it.
Speaking of all this, how's Trump's fraud campaign going?
Oh, it's going really well. It's not going really well, audience.
Who is that woman? In fact, today, the day we're filming this, Monday, the Trump campaign has officially distanced itself from that woman. They've actually put a proper statement out. I can't remember her name. What looks a bit like her out of Tiger King.
Carol Baskin.
Yeah, I mean she wears like you know, faux animal prints and everything. Anyway, the campaign's kind of said she's working independently. She is not a part of the Trump, you know,
what a show
bullshit
up,
team. Sorry, not bullshit. You know what I mean.
What a show.
So yeah, they've distanced themselves from her a little bit, but she's crazy. Chavez. Software in all American voting machines from Chavez, who died 7 years ago.
Some people, do you know what I mean? There's people running loose in the wild that in any other species would not survive. I will just say that.
Oh, my asthma, look.
What?
You inspired me today. I've got some glitter under my eyes.
Glitter and big hair. Hey, it looks good.
Yeah, well, I bought some.
Huh? Off tinted now.
I bought some, I did.
Yeah,
from the Amazon. $4.99, 4 little pots, 2 little tubes of like gel, glue, whatever it is.
Sticky bits, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a gel, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
that's right, yeah.
And a little application, a tiny applicator brush, like those ones you always got in your blusher in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
So it's alright, don't you know? It's alright.
Sorry, when you were saying that then, I was picturing dib dabs.
No.
Remember that? Where you used to suck the dib dab and then put them in the what's it? Yeah.
I love them.
Or K-Lye, you know, the licorice.
I think they're vegan sherbet dib dabs.
They bloody well should be.
Don't quote me. No, not shit. What's the one with licorice?
Flyers.
No, it's like it's a tube of sherbet with a licorice sticking out the top of it.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you remember?
Yeah,
and
I
you
do,
open it up and you've got a big long stick of licorice and K-Lye.
Yeah. But I can't remember what the dabby bits are called.
I can't.
Do send off.
It's not a sherbet dib dab because that's the lolly, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it's like a hard.
Yeah.
It's like a pumice stone, isn't it? It's like that.
Oh, do you use that on your feet, Karen?
I do sometimes. I don't suffer with my feet per se, but sometimes I just like to have a good pumice, you know, just so I feel like I've done something productive.
That's how you've kept hold of all those foot clients for so long.
I know.
I keep pumicing.
You see, it's not only a pleasure service, it also serves a health benefit. So, and I think if you can provide both, that's 2020.
Do you know what I mean? You what? So, I've got an interesting little story for you. I read this morning. So, Unilever have projected. Well, apparently they've got like a vegan food plan.
Oh yeah.
And they're planning to invest so much into plant-based foods. It's like 1.6 billion or something over the next 7 years.
Oh, that's very good.
It's good, but it's Unilever.
Oh right, yeah, of course. Sorry.
So they're not a fantastic company. However, that's a good question. Should we be celebrating this because it's moving the right direction? I've got this thing, Miasma, we've talked about it on here before. At what point do we take someone for who they are now and not all that they've been? I mean, you kind of do generally anyway. You do take people for all that they've been.
But yeah.
But when someone's showing willingness to invest into what we're trying to push for, you know, a plant-based world, should we be celebrating that? Or will Unilever always be guilty of everything they've ever done until they become a 100% vegan company? Are we that, you know, expectant?
I wouldn't like to say, but the thing is, the community is so divided, isn't it? That's the problem, and there's never a consensus, you know. So I imagine, you know, we can't say for sure. There was a discussion online the other day on, I won't mention the name of the group, on one of the vegan groups about, you know, the COVID vaccine and stuff like that, and if it will have been tested on animals and so on and so forth. And then we got into the whole medication debate, which we've been over before, rehashed, blah blah blah. Practicable and practical, we all know thingy. And you know, it's just like, on a less important level, maybe not a less important level, but it's kind of like that, isn't it? There are some people who will go, you know what, that's fine. They're making inroads. We should support that. And then there'll be some people who are like, no, don't, cancelled forever.
I mean, Paul got a lot of flack not so long back because he posted about the Colgate toothpaste on Those Vegan Guys page on Facebook.
Yeah.
People were like, why would you buy Colgate? Why would you support that company? And he kind of answered it with a really good one. As far as he was like, well, why would anyone go to Greg's for a vegan steak bake?
Yeah.
Because they brought one out.
Yeah.
So if Colgate bring out a vegan toothpaste and we all buy it to say, yes, this is what we want, they'll keep it.
Yeah. I mean...
And surely it's the same with every company.
You know, companies are not necessarily moral or immoral, are they? They follow demand. I don't...
Companies are led by the consumers.
Totally.
And we, as vegans, are the consumers. And if we ignore the little moves that they're making in the right direction and we just say, no, they're terrible, don't ever buy from them, then why should they bother?
Yeah.
Why would they bother? Why would they bother to bring out 300 new vegan products that might convert people to veganism? And that's where that's where the kind of argument takes a funny turn. Well, it doesn't take a funny turn. It's a grey area, but it's also got some very bright white bits and some very dark black bits. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah, no, I do know what you mean. It's not a simple issue, is it?
No, but for me, Miasma, I'm all about supporting those little moves that those companies make. Because Greg's, as soon as they had the response that they had to the steak bake, they suddenly announced they were going to do loads of other vegan stuff. Now I know that COVID has kind of stopped that for the moment, but it is something they'll do, I think, once the world starts to normalise again. And I can't bloody wait for the world to start normalising again, Miasma, because I want you sat here by my side.
I know.
So we're chatting proper. Do you know what I mean?
I know. It's awful.
This is love. It's lovely.
No, it's great, but it's like, when you go to the fair on the hoopla, yeah. When you want to hook a prize or whatever, and then you want the big teddy bear, but you don't hook it, probably because it's biased, but that's by the by. But and then you end up with, the small teddy bear. It's still lovely, but you wanted the big bear. Story of my life, that.
But I mean, I'm always saying, and I've said it many times during our chats, there's a big difference between need and want.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna thank.
Or another tooth, is it? God, they're dropping like flies. Oh no, it's just a her.
There it is.
Oh my God.
I think we do need physical interactions, and I'm not talking about sex.
No.
Although, many of us do need that too. But outside of that, I mean, too many people focus too much on that, on finding a lover and having that kind of intimacy. The intimacy that's more important to me, or as important, is that platonic intimacy of giving you a hug and a kiss. I love, seeing Kerry, I love kiss and hug, that kind of tactility and that person-to-person contact is actually a need.
Basic human need, touch, yeah, absolutely.
And we're all missing out on that at the moment.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think? What do you feel about the vaccines, Miasma? I mean, how willing would you be to get one?
If it was proven to work, I'd get one.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I think I'm just like, I mean, there's a lot of crap in it, but there isn't all vaccines, like the ones that bloody cured polio.
Exactly.
And stopped chickenpox killing people and stopped tuberculosis from killing thousands of hundreds of thousands of people. All of them, they've all got, you know.
They've all got, well, it all ties back into the
Weird
same, doesn't it? Because
ingredients.
it's as well, because there is I don't mean class in the sense of class structure, but there is a class of people who are very hypercritical in situations like this, and that's fine. We're very hypercritical of a lot of things politically. But then, again, as it comes back to the company thing, aren't willing to offer alternative solutions.
Yeah.
So they will just critique, oh but this, oh but that, and I'm like, okay, well what do we do instead then?
I'm
Darren?
not staying in. I'm not having a vaccine. I'm not wearing a mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so you're basically admitting that you're happy to be an infected super spreader who doesn't give a shit about anyone.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Essentially, yeah, aren't they? You know, and
Because
it's
that's
like,
what it boils down to. Isn't it?
propose something else then, Ken. You know, what's your answer? And that's not to let the
Yeah, but they never
government
do,
or the
though, do they?
authorities off the hook in any way, shape or form, because they have continued to handle the crisis abominably to this day. But it's, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't just make blanket statements. Well, people seem to think they can. If you read the comment section of the Manchester Evening News, seriously, natural selection should have sorted a lot of those people out.
I'm going to make a confession here now. I find that incredibly telling and mortifyingly embarrassing. I read the comment sections of The Independent, The Guardian, Metro, even. Although, depends what the article is.
Yeah.
In Metro. And, you know, you do see, you see a lot of intelligent debate, you see you don't see many personal attacks, and then you go to the Manchester Evening News pages. Now the Manchester Evening News is a fine publication, there's nothing wrong with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like any media outlet.
Yeah.
Some of it you disagree with, some you don't. But it's always Karen from Didsbury who's got a friend that says masks are, the viruses are fake and all this is bullshit and QAnon are real and da-da-da-da. And then you get the I'm not wearing a mask and why didn't you leave that party alone and there was nothing wrong with having a party, this is Orwellian. And I'm like, oh, that's a big word for you, well done. It's embarrassing and it is kind of, it is a glaring example, sorry, but it is, of the prevalent level of intelligence, demographically speaking, in our area.
Yeah. They'll get no argument from me on that.
And it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, alright, people of Manchester, step up.
Yeah.
Step up. Be better.
Mm-hmm.
Be more. Be just a better version of you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make it okay just because Karen down the road says it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people just kind of copy each other.
Mm.
There are those that don't have the intelligence, because it does take a little bit of intelligence to come up with this is all a conspiracy theory. Do you know what I mean? That uses words. There's other people that just copy. But I tell you what I'm finding appalling, and I actually took some screenshots not so long back.
Oh yeah.
I was going to post them and then I thought, yeah, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
There was an article about the deaths from COVID on that particular day. And the last I looked, there were like 64 people who'd reacted to it with a laugh.
Oh, it's my least favourite emoji on Facebook. It's like, I petition to get rid of it, because people that abuse it in situations like that, it's disgusting.
And it's just like, what exactly are you trying to say?
Yeah.
You're laughing at people dying.
Yeah.
You're too stupid to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
You're so stupid that you believe in conspiracy theories that are obvious bullshit, and so you're laughing like in your little I know more than you. No, you don't.
I don't
You
think
just look like you look like a moron.
Yeah. It'd be a lot easier for all concerned if you just typed "I am a prick" in the comments, because at least then we'd know where we are.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't
And
have
I've
to go and
done
look
with
you
it.
up and make sure we haven't got mutual friends with you. You know, particularly.
You know, though, miasma, and we've probably talked about this before as well, but I think it's important to acknowledge we are what we consume, and that's not just food.
No.
You know, that's what media we consume, and as I've said on here many times, I consume a lot of news, and I am heavily, my consumption is heavily a mixture of BBC, Sky, RT, Al Jazeera English, MSNBC, and some other American stations, but I squeeze in there Fox. I hate it.
Yeah.
Hate it, but I still watch it. I still watch segments, and I've started to watch segments now by Newsmax because I've seen it gaining huge popularity in America. All these people that are going off Fox because Fox are telling the truth now about the election and about that stupid tiger woman.
Baskin Robbins woman. We don't even know what she's called because we don't care. We just need her to stop.
But you've got to be careful. You really do have to be careful about what you consume. And if you are all Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham, you're not getting a real view of the world. Nowhere near. You need to take in some other, because what these things are doing are, you're American, you're great, you're amazing, you can do and be whatever you want, but people are stopping you, and they come from there and there and there, and they're your next door neighbour who voted for Biden, and it's the black guy down the street, and it's the people over there in the ghetto, and it's the Mexicans desperately clambering over the border. But you're amazing. That's the food.
Yeah, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. It speaks to a need, doesn't it? You know, that people have to feel. In the same way that
superior.
religion. Yeah, in the same way that religion does. People have a need to feel meaningful, and that they're not just here by chance, or that, you know, circumstances have shaped out in a way where it's like we said in the last episode, you're not going to be a millionaire. 98% of you.
Stop protecting them.
I know you all think that you're all frustrated millionaires to be. You're not going to be.
It's the American dream is much more a fallacy than a fact these days, but it's still the food that feeds ignorance and hatred and racism and separatism, and it's still the food that got Trump into office and had him sitting there for 4 years, and he's not even presiding anymore.
No.
It's, you know, a good president who truly believed that a fraud had taken place and was being investigated would possibly cite that at every public appearance and say, my team is still looking into this, and I'm still not willing to concede because I do believe that the people have been defrauded. However, COVID is still ravaging through this country. Please wear a mask.
Yeah, exactly.
Please wash it. You would preside. You would be a president. You would try to bring people together. You would warn them of the dangers of this virus, which has now infected, I can't remember how many millions of people in America, but over 250,000 have now died. Just in America, over 250,000, 260,000 now, miasma.
I know.
And he doesn't say anything about it.
Oh.
He just says, we can't close down, don't close down, open the schools, open your state. that state. Did you hear what he said about Cuomo in New York?
No, I didn't.
We're going to get the vaccine, and every state's going to get it, except places like New York, because of things Cuomo said. Basically, now I keep forgetting. This is a new phone. There you go. Do not disturb.
I mean, if you're not going to preside and you're just going to do, you know, passive-aggressive tweets because you couldn't get your own way, I hate to break it to you, America, but you don't have a president, you've got a foreign exchange student who can't speak the language.
It's because he doesn't realise, even if it was just 500,000, he keeps 74 million people voted for me and more voted for Biden. That's the rest of the sentence.
Yeah.
And more voted for Biden.
Yeah.
So you're out, you're done. It doesn't matter that those 74 million people wanted you. Each one of them, to me, a disgrace to humanity and an utter fool. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. If you voted for Trump...
Don't be sorry. Why would you be sorry?
Well, this is just it, isn't it? So a very interesting segment on TYT earlier. Anna Kasparian and one of her guests, and it's funny because it links in with something Paul said years ago. It was basically Republicans standing up against what Trump is doing right now. And Anna and her guest were both saying, yeah, I'm not going to congratulate you for that because that's what you should be doing. Do you remember years ago, Paul did on his old channel ActorReactor, he did a thing about that. Do you remember that woman, Carol Saldinak, whose sons had beaten up a guy so badly he lost an eye?
Yes. Oh God, yeah.
And she, well, that was the start of Pink Triangle Theatre, if you remember.
God, you're going back now, love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There was that vlog, and then there was the vlog about James Parks.
That's right.
The police officer who got beaten up because of homophobia. That's where Pink Triangle Theatre started. But the Carol Saldinak one, and I was trying to get it across at the time, she'd been hailed as this hero.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't do that. Don't hail her as a hero, because what she did, she should have done.
Yeah.
And if you make it an heroic thing, it makes it unreachable to so many people. Instead of being something they should do, it's something, oh, well, I'm not a hero, so it's fine that I don't.
Yeah.
You should stand up. You should, if your best friend sits next to you watching the new Sainsbury's advert and says, I don't like that this is a black family, I'm not represented, you should say, white privilege much?
Yeah.
They haven't been represented for decades, hundreds of years, so can they have this moment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have to be represented in everything? Because they weren't.
Yeah.
They've hardly been represented at all. So think about what you said, and if you still believe it, I'm afraid our friendship's in question. You've got to. As hard as it may be, whether it's your mother or your father or you, we've got to start. I'm sorry, my asthma, I'm on one today,
No, it's fine,
darling.
don't worry, I'm going to get on one in a bit when we start recording again.
We've got to stand up. We've got to stand up to hatred, bigotry, racism. We've got to stand up to it all. We've got to stand up to hate in this world, to judgment and superiority and looking down on people because of the colour of their skin or the size of their bum or their sexuality or the fact that they've got pink hair or whatever. It's like, get over yourself and pull up people who aren't over their selves yet.
Absolutely. It's not enough to be tolerant. It's not enough to not be insert name of thing people are just for here. You've got to be actively anti that, and you have to do it every single day.
Everything.
Every single day. Otherwise,
let's start.
Don't bother.
My asthma. Let's start again, and you can have your rant.
Lovely.
Are you ready, love?
Yeah.
Well, no, don't start it yet. Mine's going to stop automatically in 5, 4, 3, 2. Back once again for the Renegade Master.
People bow to the people. Yeah, yeah, exactly that.
Miasma.
Love. Yeah.
You said you were going to get on one, and I'm not looking forward to it. You go, girl.
I've got to be in my bonnet, love, and here's for why. And I'm going to bring it up because it comes up every year. It's that time of year. It's when you know it's Christmas. Fairy Tale of New York, the Pogues and Kirsty MacColl. Now, you'd be forgiven in the media for believing that the BBC had said, you know, those blameless bastions of truth and justice, lol, have banned the song because of the lyric in which Kirsty MacColl uses the F word, faggot, I'm saying it once, that's it, in reply to Shane in the song. It's actually not the news story. The news story is that the BBC have decided that they're going to use the re-recorded version, which has alternative lyrics, which the Pogues and Kirsty MacColl re-recorded themselves many years ago for any radio broadcast or TV that might have children or young people as listeners. That's not what's been reported. And that's not my issue, Karen. There's been every single year we have this debate about, we had it last year with the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special, about whether people should be censoring the word in the song. Now, here's me two penneth. It's probably going to be more of a threatening bit. I have no problem with the song, per se. I do not have a problem with that. And I've written about this extensively. I go on like I don't know what. What I have a problem with is people, first of all, incorrectly assuming that they're being told that it's being censored, whatever that is. Censorship's wrong, blah, blah, blah. Didn't mind all them slave owning statues were up, did you? Telling false histories, but whatever, we'll leave that alone. What I have a problem with is when people think that they're not allowed to say the word or the lyric, they suddenly get on this righteous soapbox as if it's their God-given right to say the word faggot. Right? I've got news for you, Ken. It is not your God-given right, leaving aside religion, to say that word. No, it's not your right to say that word. And here's for why. Because a lot of people, sorry, I feel like a right commentator. A lot of people online and stuff are sort of doing this thing where they're like, well, actually, I think you'll find, because everyone's a linguistics professor now, you see. I think you'll find it means meat, a pile of sticks, someone lazy in like Irish terminology. I'm like, yeah, all those things are true. In this context, that is not what it means. Stop lying. In the same way that the word slut means slovenly or untidy, is that what people mean when they're catcalling women on the street? No, it's not. So it's contextual. We know full well what that word means in that context. And frankly, no, it's not your right to scream it in people's faces in a Wetherspoons every fucking Christmas, as though that's just, it's culture, it's tradition. Religion's tradition. How many of you go to church? I'm not having it. And more of that, I'm finishing, I promise. When I do write about it, I do wish people would engage, and this is a bigger issue, with what has been written and not what they think they want to make a point about. So I put on that I don't have an issue with the song. Well, Stuart did this, not Miasma. But I could go on his Facebook sometimes to play games. And who'd written about he doesn't have a problem with the song. What he has a problem with is people being so up in arms about the fact that they might be banned from saying the word. You know, and some people completely got that. Some people basically came on with deciding what their agenda was and just commenting on it. And as a sidebar, it'd be nice, you know, if you engage with people's posts when they're doing something positive and not just when you disagrey with them, just as an FYI.
Oh, that does my head in. No, wait, let's just talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Because it's something people do all the time. We as creators are often sharing the work we've created, whether it be a YouTube video or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And the lack of interaction with stuff like that, as opposed to when you write something political and somebody's like, I don't agree with you, and you get responses, it's very shallow, it's a very shallow thing, and it's people defending their ego. I believe this, and you've just marked my ego in some way by. But the whole thing about the faggot song now, because people have said about children, we need to be careful around children. I guarantee you that most young people have heard a rap song with the N-word in it.
Yeah, of course.
And they completely understand that that's in the song, and it's not a word that they should use generally ever. Why can't they understand that about faggot in Fairy Tale of New York? It's the same thing.
Yeah. It
Do you
is
know what
all,
I mean?
Yeah, no, it's very contextual, isn't it?
But that's what we need to teach. We need to teach about context and art.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them suddenly saying, right, well, we've edited that, so let's edit Kes, because it gets read out in schools and it's full of foul language.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? And let's... We don't want to become some little southern town in America, book burning.
Oh God, no.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And there's a fine line, isn't there, between censorship and that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm on that camp in terms of leave the art alone. The art is fine. Understand the art and then appreciate why some people might be uncomfortable. You don't necessarily have to think it, but you also don't need to get on your high horse and tell people that their feelings aren't valid. Because there's a lot of queer people as well who have like tweeted things like, I'm fine with the song, you know, I don't mind and I'm gay, and I'm like, well, good for you, Barry, good for you. But some people aren't, and what would be a more helpful suggestion is, I see that you're not, and I acknowledge that you're not okay with that. You know what I mean? Rather than saying, oh, that's grim.
It's my hair falling out.
Oh God, this happens to the best of us, love.
It's all this worry.
Do you know what I mean though? It's like, if it's very similar to, you know, like the uncensored version of Gold Digger. Are you the white man in the Weatherspoons singing the unedited version with the N-word in it at the top of your voice just because you feel like it's your right and you can? Because that's different, isn't it? I think that's very different. And, you know, again, as with social media, these are not good places for nuanced debates and care in the way we talk to each other, because everything has to be reduced to a certain number of characters, and you can't do nuance in a tiny number of characters. You just can't. But blame the media as well for inflating that story, because you know, that's not the story.
Well, they've not got very much to talk about, have they?
Well,
really?
That's true. Sorry, I've gone on there, haven't I?
No, it's fine. Apart from people, you know, companies closing and people dying and infection rates going up and people gathering and illegal gatherings and all this. They're talking now, aren't they, about going straight after the 2nd of December, going back into the tiered system.
Yeah, tier 3 I read, I think, for Manchester in particular.
But a stronger tier system apparently, because it's got to be the areas that are suffering from the most infections and have got to, you know. So we've just got a lot of stubborn people that live around these parts who aren't following rules and regulations because they feel like they're being controlled. And so our hospitals are still full.
Yeah. And you do sort of want to say that, you're just like, okay, then carry on being your little libertarian self, and it'll just keep going on. And it'll just keep going on. And you'll be pissed off for longer, possibly another year. You know, because that's the thing, isn't it? We've touched on it before. It isn't going anywhere.
No.
So you need to start taking it seriously and doing things to actively work against infection.
I wonder whether some people that are against it or don't believe in it are too scared to. Do you know what I mean? Rather than actually being a conspiracy theorist and believing that it's bullshit, they're too scared to acknowledge that there is a virus out there, it is killing people, and you can catch it from just standing talking to someone who's got it.
Yeah.
Unlike cancer, because everyone likes to say, oh yeah, and how many people have died of cancer this week? Well, how many people caught it from standing next to someone at a bus stop, Sandra?
Yeah.
Nobody. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah. a bit of thought. It all ties in, doesn't it? A bit of thought. Engage your brain before you gob. Sometimes do the thinking and then talk.
People aren't prepared to think these days, are they? Because if they think too much, they come up with thoughts that go against what some of their core beliefs. Rather than having the humanity, the decency and the intelligence to say, wow, I thought that was different. So it's this way. Right, okay. Rather than doing that, it's just like, nah, bullshit, bullshit, shit that, bullshit.
Yeah. But also, it's just a nicer way to live, isn't it? If someone gives you new information, no one's going to judge you for not having the information, but when you get the information, it's such a much more pleasant ride to just go, thank you for letting me know that, I did not know that. And
when did we become so anti-science?
Yeah.
That's what terrifies me. Science, the thing that brought us medicines that cure people, and the thing that brought us vaccines that stopped these diseases from still being prevalent in the world today. Medicine that saved your Auntie Beryl or your granddad or gave him 10 months more, or medicine that stops us getting all these debilitating diseases out there because we've learned how to control them. Science that manages to get a satellite up into space so that you can watch your favourite TV show. Why is all that suddenly bullshit when it conflicts with something you hold as a core belief?
Yeah.
That's what you have to ask yourself.
Absolutely. In the same way that, people chatting shit about these, chipping things and conspiracies and stuff, and then tweeting that from their iPhone. Two points on that.
I don't want a chip in my body. I carry my iPhone everywhere. It knows everything I say, everywhere I go, but I don't want a chip that does the same thing.
Two things. One, bold of you to assume that you're interesting enough to chip.
I know, right?
Like, Alma, no one gives a fuck if you go to the Home and Bargains. The government are not interested.
I don't want people knowing where I am. Why?
Like you're the bloody, trade secretary for the.
Are you embarrassed about going to the Gala Bingo every Tuesday night?
Because don't be, it's mint. And two, it's like, your phone has already given them everything they need on you. They don't need to chip you.
Speaking of phones, me and Paul have got a new one.
Ooh, posh. Ooh, where is it?
It's a Sony Xperia 5.
Oh, is it? Is it alright?
It's not bad.
Well, that's good. Look, I should be obsessed now. What is it? Philip Schofield's nudes? What is it?
Oh.
No.
I didn't want to search. What are you doing? Oh, it does all that stuff. It does translate and everything.
Oh, I love that.
I know, that's good, that, isn't it?
It is good, that.
Why is it doing that? Oh, I'm touching the wrong thing. It's that I'm meant to be touching. Yeah, it's not bad.
Look at a Lukey. Look at a Lukey.
There we go.
Should be titivating
Got
like
me.
Minnie Mouse.
Oh, they're not bad. They're not bad. I'm not keen on selfies of myself these days. But now and again I take one. You're obsessed, you, aren't you? I don't blame you, you're young and pretty.
Well,
when you get old, you're not.
It's not even that.
So
it's actually, I've taken a leaf out of your book, Paul's book, I should say, in some respects. Because I'm certainly not doing it for bloody likes and stuff on Instagram, because the algorithm's buggered, so nobody even sees half the posts that people put on.
I know.
But, it's more like Paul said something a few years ago that I've kind of clung on to, and it's making a lot more sense to me now about your social media. It's a much more pleasant experience if you see it as like a scrapbook for yourself.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? It has to be.
Yeah.
Because then it's a working testament to who you are and who you were.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to think about now. Mark them nice moments. Do still PR, like Stuart's got a show coming up this week online, in live stream from London, so I'm doing PR for that. But also it's about going, oh, remember a year ago, you know, like when your memories come up and stuff like that, we were doing that, and that was lovely.
Do you want to, have you got any video mentioning that you can link?
I have. Well, Stuart did a talk on Libraries Open with all the links to watch the live stream on, talking about how he adapted Jekyll and Hyde to a stage show. So go and point. Look at pointing, looking, pointing, in a bowl.
And I'll also point you to the latest. No, I'll point you to the first of Paul's whole food plant-based journey videos.
Oh yeah, lovely.
I'll put that up there as well because it's quite interesting. You should see me going slimmer and prettier. By December 21st, I'll have a tooth and everything.
Yeah.
I'll be back to my old glam self.
She'll have shed so many layers of skin that the person that you're looking at now won't even exist.
By the way, still November, still not wearing breasts. Decided to not wear them all of November for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Oh, lovely. That's nice.
So, well, we did it at the very beginning.
We did.
And then I did it last week as well. So, I think am I right, or was it October and I've gone all wrong?
No, I think it was November. Oh. Well, the sentiment's the same, isn't it?
Yeah. That, and you know, it'd be quite a struggle to get a pair of boobs in there now, so.
They're not forgiving them frocks.
So there's that and all of it. There's that. Have you got anything else you want to talk about? My asthma.
I see what that auto
Creeping
corrects
was
to.
her name. When she lived in Germany, she was on the game, and she did her clients for the very cheap. She could get quite deep with them.
Let them.
She charged him 20 quid. You'd be appalled at the dirty thing she did.
Don't do that cursed face on the bloody image.
My asthma. I could rewrite that whole song and make it filthy and make it all about you. Take me about 10 minutes.
Very in character.
Songs made wrong.
I suppose the only thing to sort of mention very briefly, hopefully briefly, is the whole Pretty Patel thing with the bullying clearance.
Oh God, yeah, it is. Well, it needs to be investigated properly.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on her because I can't stand her, and I wouldn't piss on her if she was on fire. But you know, when the news comes out and the whole entire country does a collective "what a load of shit," do you know what I mean?
Right.
And the Tory WhatsApp group are all like, "Look, here's your copy and paste Twitter status." They've not twigged on yet that everyone knows exactly what they're doing. Because they all tweet the same thing. It's like, you know, like the party line sort of thing, but not even like altering the wording of it. It's like, we all know what you're doing.
I know.
You know.
I know my asthma.
I know. I'm doing that because I've lost one as well.
Where?
There.
Oh. Ow.
Well, come out.
Did it just come out?
Yeah.
Did it? What we like, a pair of rotten out slags.
No, these are vintage British teeth. Vintage working class British teeth. You know why? Because dentistry's not free anymore. There's a COVID on, and it's dear.
It is. Well, it weren't that dear.
Yeah.
I mean, it is for stuff like partial dentures. That's 260 odd quid. That, but for just a general check, for just a general checkup and a clean and everything, it's only usually about 20-30 quid.
Yeah, that's true enough. But still, you know, when you think back to going for free, it sticks in the craw, doesn't it? You know what I mean? I don't like having to now pay for things that were free.
Well, they pay thousands in America, so we're lucky there.
We are lucky in that respect, but it's all relative, I suppose, isn't it? So
it is. Right, darling, we should get ourselves off here. We've been right bright and colourful today, but we've had a bloody morbid talk about morbid stuff again. Are you looking forward to Christmas? Let me ask you that before you go.
I am actually. I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to a bit of R&R, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just have a chill and not have to think constantly about what's next, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I haven't decided what we're having for Christmas dinner yet or anything like that. I do this every year. I'm like, oh, we'll have this year. I decided about March. And then I get to November and I start going, will we? You know, we're not
Make that meatless feast festive plate that Paul did. I reckon your entire family would love that.
That's a
Put
really
the link
good
for it
idea.
Up there. It's really tasty. Loads of meat eaters have made it and said it's delicious.
Oh, fab.
So
maybe we'll do that then for Boxing Day actually, because we always have something.
It's perfect for Boxing Day, Mildred. Perfect.
Hot or cold.
That and a glass of sherry and a stuffing ball.
Right in there.
Right, my darling, let's get off. Let's bring this to a close. We'll say thank you so much to all of you beautiful people out there for watching us prattle on. Had a right nice time.
Yeah.
And we'll see you again in a fortnight, won't we?
We'll see you in December, yeah.
Oh God, December.
Yeah.
Get ready, we'll be back in December. Look after yourself, lovelies. Bye.